I'd been driving south since sunset, cutting from Memphis down toward Natchez after a funeral I didn't want to stay for. By the time I hit that stretch of 61, it was close to 1 in the morning. Every diner dark, every porch dead. The Delta around me so empty it felt like the world had shut itself off. I only stopped because the light was still on. Everything else along Highway 61 was blacked out, like the whole Delta had decided to sleep at the same time. No open diners, no porch bulbs, just fields and crickets in that long, dark stretch south of Clarksdale where the road becomes a rumor you keep following. Then, out of nowhere, a little gas station like a stray tooth with a greenish hum over the pumps and an "open 24 hours" sign, shivering in the heat, even though it was well past midnight. I eased in because my gauge was a breath above empty, and because the front windows showed a counter and a register and the kind of bell that dings when you open the door. It looked alive in there, lived in. I told myself I'd be in and out in 2 minutes. The pump was so old it had the rolling numbers behind glass, the kind that flip with a clack. I pressed the handle, and nothing happened. Pressed again. Clack. And the numbers began to crawl like a lazy insect, pennies clicking up, gasoline smell thick and sweet. I glanced toward the door and saw a shape move behind the counter, just a human outline in the fluorescent wash. Good, not alone. The bell at the door gave a tired ring when I pushed in. The air inside tasted like dust. A ceiling fan turned above me with that soft slap of unbalanced blades, and a radio somewhere low behind the shelves whispered a talk show where the voices sounded like people in another room. I couldn't see the radio, just heard it talking to itself. No one stood at the counter. A jar of dusty candy, an ashtray with 2 gray butts stuck together like lips. Behind the counter, an office door with a square window and a pull-chain bulb that cut its own small circle of light. Within that light, a shadow I couldn't quite name. "Evening," I said, because that's what you say in places like that. Pump 2, the radio murmured like someone agreeing. The fan kept turning. The shadow didn't answer. "Hello?" From the shelves to my right, something slid, just a little. A can, a bottle. The radio made a soft, polite chuckle and went on telling a story about a storm last month, fences down, a grocery in a town I haven't seen since I was a kid. I put 2 fingers on the counter. The Formica was warm. "Pump 2, I said again, heavier now. The office light blinked, slow off, then on, like an eye losing a blink war. The shadow in the little window seemed to lean forward. My mouth went dry without asking me. "Look," I said, trying to keep it light. "I'm almost out. I just need $20 to get to Natchez. I can—" The register drawer slid open on its own. The bell on it made a bright, happy ring. I stared at the empty drawer, at the coins nested there like small, cold moons, and then at the paper tape poking from the printer. The tape twitched, and letters began to climb out in shaky red ink. Pump 2, $20. August 12th. I looked toward the windows. The highway was empty. The pump numbers outside kept clacking. On the corkboard behind the counter curled notices: church fish fry, missing dog, county fair, and below them a row of Polaroids, travelers standing right where I was, each one dated the same, August 12th. The clock on the wall over the cigarettes had its second hand frozen, the minutes hand wedged between 12 and 1. "I'm leaving cash," I said to no one, tucking a 20 on the counter out of kindness or superstition, or both. My own voice sounded borrowed. I wanted the highway again, the honest ignorance of it. I was almost to the door when the phone on the wall beside the lotto sign rang. You know the sound of a phone in a quiet store. It doesn't ask, it expects. It rang twice, 3 times. Nobody picked up. On the 5th ring, my hand was already reaching. On the 6th, I had the receiver at my ear. What I heard was myself. "Hey," my voice said, breathless and soft and far away. "Don't leave yet." The line went dead. My hand was slick. The office light blinked once more and stayed on. In the little window I saw my own reflection, posed and still, as if waiting for someone to take the picture. Outside, the pump stopped with a heavy click. My body moved before my brain. I pushed through the door like a swimmer breaking surface, Yanked the nozzle free with my eyes fixed on the highway. Didn't want to look at the glass and risk seeing something look back. I capped the tank with hands that didn't feel like mine and slid into the seat. The engine started fine, like nothing had happened at all. Relief hurt. The station shrank in the mirror, a green smear, windows glowing faint at the bottom. I told myself I'd laugh about it later, maybe keep the receipt as a story. 1 mile, 2. On the 3rd, the radio in my dash, untouched, found a station on its own. A man's voice slid in under the tires, low and calm. Hot tomorrow, storms by sundown. Old recording, old tone. It soothed me in a stupid way. Then the green came back. Up ahead, 1/2 mile or more. The same glow, the same gravel apron, the same sign with the same letter out. Open 24 hours. I laughed. I wasn't lost. There's only one road down here. Still, I slowed. The gravel crunched exactly the same. The pump had the same chipped paint, same stain, shaped like a bat. The cashier light was on, the office light on. A moth flapped against the glass and left dust like chalk. I watched the door. Nothing moved. My car radio played a jingle for a grocery that closed 20 years ago. Curiosity is meaner than fear. I went in. Bell, fan, radio, counter. The drawer shut this time, but there was one more Polaroid. My shoulder mid-turn, caught by light. The receipt printer woke and whispered out a line. "Don't leave yet." "Who are you?" I asked. The radio slipped into a hymn, soft, doubled, one voice in the speaker, another breathing just behind the shelves, matching my rhythm. "Who are you?" I said again. The ceiling fan clicked. The ashtray turned a little. In the dust, fingerprints, my own, down to the nick on my ring finger. I pressed beside them. The fit was perfect. Then the phone rang again. Each tone made the office light pulse thicker, like blood finding a beat. 6th ring. I answered. Silence, then breath. My breath. "You can't leave yet," my voice said. "Why not?" "Because we don't have your picture right." "You never let it be right," click. The pump outside thunked again, though I hadn't touched it. I looked at the window. There I was, reflected, as if someone were standing behind me helping the glass remember me. The person in the reflection lifted a hand a little before I did, like a teacher leading a class in a lesson. When I lifted mine, it held, not mirroring, but waiting for me to catch up. My throat tightened so hard I tasted copper. I stepped to the door, still holding myself in my eyes, and saw the reflection exhale a fog I hadn't made. Outside, something had disturbed the gravel in a path from the pump to my car. Small crescents of stone tipped up and over as if a careful foot stepped and stepped and stepped. There was no one there to make them. The path led up to my car, to the driver's side, and stopped after the door. I turned my head toward the highway because I needed a horizon. The night gave me only the line of the road and a stand of trees beyond it, and the whisper of leaves talking in their sleep. The green hum of the station became a tone in my skull. If you've ever stood by a B-box, that's the feeling. Important work you're not invited to join. "Okay," I said. "I'll stay. For a minute." Back inside, my new Polaroid had finished developing. Me, mid-turn, one eye bright, one eye dark. August 12th, written underneath in red. The clock fell forward on its nail, still stuck. The radio pinched off. Silence stretched until I heard a steady exhale 2 aisles over, patient and close. "Please," I said, "I have to go." The register drawer chimed and slid open a little. Inside, folded bills, stacked receipts. Pump $220, August 12th, each signed Walter, Lucy, Henry, Patrice, and one with my name, line blank, pen waiting. I backed away. "I have to go." The pull chain in the office swayed. In its little window, my reflection lacked a mouth. I pressed my tongue against my teeth just to make sure it was still mine. I ran. The bell punched at my back. Tires spun gravel. Straight road, good road, for 1 mile. Then, green light again. The same station. I blew past at 60, holding my breath as if smell had teeth. The radio laughed about a county fair. I almost cried. The next curve straightened, and the station waited. This time a figure stood in the window. Not a man, something arranged into the shape of one. a hand on the door frame, another resting where a mouth should be, like it was practicing being human. I didn't stop. As I passed, it lifted a hand in a small wave, and the inside of the glass fogged from its side. Faster. Fields whipped by. My rear view caught the shrinking glow, and for a heartbeat, I saw the interior light flicker, as if something moved along the wall. The road curved left around a stand of trees, and for a moment I had nothing ahead but hope. When it straightened, the green wash was waiting, patient. I screamed, at the sign, the pump, the moths, the phone, my own name. The radio laughed. I took the gravel hard, suspension groaning. I didn't go inside. I grabbed a tire iron, marched to the door. The bell gave one soft chime, as if asking me to reconsider. I broke the glass. It cracked sharp and high, alive. The hum stayed steady. The radio said cheerfully, "Now don't y'all go anywhere," and played a song about leaving and always coming back. I stepped through, cut my arm. The blood smelled like fuel. Inside, the dust shaped itself into my handprint before I made it. The printer spat again. "Thank you for staying." In the office, the wall of cork was covered in photos. Bodies mid-turn, mouths erased. Everyone stamped August 12th in red. One space still empty, pins waiting like small eyes. I backed out. The register rang on its own. I ran, out through the door, into the car, into the night. The highway took me, 1 mile of peace, then another green glow rising ahead. I passed it, kept passing until dawn found me. In Natchez, I parked outside a diner, sat in a booth by the window while my hands stopped shaking. The waitress said, "Rough night, hun?" "Yeah," I said. When I paid, the torn receipt clung to my fingers. Pump 2, $20. August 12th. Thank you for staying. See you again soon. Underneath, new letters, south of Natchez, north of where you're going. "What's the date?" I asked. "August 12th, she said, cheerful. "Storm due by sundown. Hot one today." I left the cash under the cup and walked out into the morning that pretended nothing ever happens. Dew on my window had cleared in one perfect oval, right where a mouth would fog. I took the back roads out. I haven't touched 61 since. Still, some nights, between stations, a soft voice comes through. Hot tomorrow. Storms by sundown. When that happens, I pull over, kill the engine, and breathe with my mouth open, so the glass won't fog. If you ever head south from Memphis and see a single green light burning when everything else has gone dark, keep driving. The worst that happens is you run out of gas. The other worst that happens is you don't.